So, for no logical reason, I decided to sit at this end of my bookshelf today, and quite frankly, I can't be bothered moving back. So, sorry about that. Today I'm going to be doing hyped books that I am never going to read. And quite frankly, there are some on this list that I don't even have a reason for why I don't want to read them. I just don't care enough. Like, I've got very into hyped books at the moment. I watch videos where people are all talking about the same book, and I look at some and I just think, yeah, I kind of want to read that. Also, bit stingy, won't pay the money for it. And then there's some I look at and I'm just like, I don't even care. I'm just not interested. And one that I recently bought, which I'm too scared to read because after I bought it and it was hyped up so much, I kind of read the plot and I thought, oh, probably not actually going to like it, is the 10,000 Doors of January. And I do own the book and I'm scared of reading it, but I will be reading it soon. So here is my list. So the first book that I have no intention of reading at all is House of Earth and Blood, which is the first book in the Crescent City series. I think it is just the only one out at the moment, by Sarah J Maas. And to be honest, there is no reason at all as to why I don't want to read this book. I think I've just seen it too much and I just don't want to read it out of spite, to be honest. I don't know, I've just seen so many people talk about it and all I keep thinking is, I just don't care. I really don't want to read it. It just does not interest me in the slightest, and that's really all there is to it. So the next book is one that I've actually started seeing dwindle a bit now. I've not heard much from it recently, but it was quite big at the start of the year. Not just on BookTube, but actually just within my friendship circle as well. It was one of the books recommended for my book club, and that is American Dirt by Janine Cummins. And really, it's just not my kind of book. Like, it's not my type of genre to start off with anyway. And I don't really know. I just know recently from reading some books that if it's not my kind of thing, or it has elements of stories that don't interest me, then I just don't want to read it. And I know this one involves things like drug cartels and escaping from that, and that just doesn't interest me. And whilst beforehand I would have originally said, oh, you know what, I'm still going to give it a go, right now I'm just thinking I don't want to give it a go. It just seems like a complete waste of my time to give it a go because I know I won't enjoy it. So I am never going to read it. The next book that I am not going to read, and I think, well, it's not the next book, it's the next series, and that is again Sarah J Maas, and I'm sorry it's Sarah J Maas, but it is the Throne of Glass books. And really, the main reason I don't want to read it is because there's a lot of books in this series already, I think there's like 7 or something like that, and I'm just not interested enough to start that series. Like, I'd love to start a new series, but I'm just not interested enough in that series to commit to 7 books, because it's very rare for me to actually pick up a series and not see it through to the end. Even if I hate it, I will see it through, just because it's a series of books that you should be continuing reading to get the full story and the full understanding. And I just don't care enough about the series to get a full understanding of this book. Like, I don't even want to read it. Like, I don't want to read the first one. So, sorry about that. The next book is one that is hyped very recently. Quite a lot of my BookTube friends have been reading this book, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. And to be honest, the only reason I can tell you that I don't want to read it is because I checked it out because it was so hyped. I thought, you know what, I'll have a look what it's about. And I started reading the blurb, and I was bored reading the blurb. Like, if you're bored reading a blurb, how interesting is this book really going to be? And from that, I was just like, right, no. If I am that bored from reading what the story is about, how bored am I actually going to be reading the story? So it was just an instant nope from me. And next on the list, I feel mean putting this one on, because the main reason I'm just putting this one on is because I know I won't like the genre. I don't like the genre as it is, but I know I just won't like this book. And that's The Flatshare from Beth O'Leary. And it just seems like a soppy, cutesy, romantic thing, and it's just one of those cliche things, isn't it? I don't like cliches. Like, It's my issue with romance. I don't like cliche books. I don't like books I'm going to get bored of, because I know what's going to happen. Within the first 10 pages, I can tell you how it's going to start. Before the first 10 pages, I can tell you how it's going to go. Like, it has a very interesting concept of the fact that the people don't meet because one uses the flat in the day while the other works, and then one uses the flat at the night while the other one works. And it's quite an interesting dynamic, and I do like the sound of that. But before it starts, I can tell you they're not going to meet, then suddenly something happens and they end up meeting, and they end up together at the end. And you know how it's going to go. And if you like the cutesy romance story, then that's great. It's a perfect book for you. But for me, I don't like books where I can guess the ending before I've even read the book. Like, just, what a waste of my time. I don't even need to read the book. I know how it's going to go. I know how it's going to end. So why am I wasting my time reading it? I just don't understand it. And there are people out there that love doing stuff like that, and I'm like, great, it suits you, that is perfect, go for it. For me, I just don't see the point. I really don't. And the next book that I'm never going to read, and I mean never, like never, ever, ever, that is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. And quite frankly, the main reason I'm not going to read this, and it's the only reason, other than the fact that it doesn't interest me, the only other reason is because I've had friends who have read this book, and they have told me that in their opinion it is god awful. It was boring, it just was not good, and I trust their opinion, so I don't want to pick it up. Like, they know what I'm into. They're into certain types of books. They just didn't rate it, and I just don't think I would. And I trust their opinion on the fact that it's not that great, so I've got to go with what they say, to be honest. So, the next book series that I'm never going to read, and that is I don't actually know what the book series is called, but it's The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And to be honest, the main reason is it's a high epic fantasy. I am not a high epic fantasy kind of person. I figured that out when I read The Hobbit, and I'm gonna give The Lord of the Rings a go, and I think that might be my only dive into high fantasy, because I just don't think it's for me. I kind of realised it wasn't for me when I read The Hobbit. I was hoping it would be, but it's not, so I just don't intend to start a new series with that type of genre, really. Now, the next book that I'm not going to read is Children of Blood and Bone, and that is by Tomi Adeyemi. And to be honest, the main reason that I'm not going to read this, I can't even say. There is no reason why I don't want to read it. I read the blurb and it was just an instant no. I read the blurb and it just didn't interest me at all. It was just not my kind of book. It was not thrilling. I just looked at it and was like, nah. And I feel bad because I don't think I can fairly judge something like that. I don't think you can start a book series, or I don't think you can dismiss a book series just because you read the blurb and was like, no. But then I also think the blurb's there for a reason. The blurb is there for you to read and decide whether you want to read the book or not. And that's exactly what I've done. So I shouldn't feel bad for choosing not to want to read it. So I don't really know what else I can say about it. I just know for a fact that I don't want to read it. So to anyone that loves these series, I'm really sorry. But I just know that it's not for me. So I'm sorry. And the 9th book that I really do not want to read is With the Fire on High, and that is by Elizabeth Azevedo, and it just sounds really boring. Like, people who have read it have loved it. I've read so many reviews and I've watched so many videos where people have spoken about the book and said it was one of their favourite books of the year and they absolutely loved it and it was the best thing. But when I read the blurb, pretty much what I could gather from it is a girl that wants to cook. She can't do the cooking because she's a young mum and she has to prioritise the child. But she's going to end up being a cook in the end because it's about dreams coming true, and it just doesn't interest me. Like, it seems like a nice, positive book, and that's what we kind of want to see. I love seeing stuff like that, but I just have no interest in reading it, because if you know pretty much how it's going to go, if a book talks about trying to make someone's dreams come true, it's pretty much a given that the dreams are going to come true. So what's the point in reading the book? Because you know how it's going to go. You know the dreams are going to come true. So why are you bothering reading it? What's the point? Like, you get the happy feeling of, yay, they did it, but you know they're going to do it from page 1. So it's not like it was a scary thing. It's not like there was ever a risk. It was always going to happen. And the final book series that I am never going to read is the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, and just with Patrick Rothfuss as well. Like, it's very similar. It's just the type of fantasy book I just have no interest in, and I'm sorry, I really am, to everyone that loves the series. It is just not my kind of series, and I don't want to risk. I don't want to pick up a book series and then end up DNFing it, because I knew from the start I wasn't going to enjoy it, but I did it just because everyone says so and because it was the hype. And I just really don't want to do that, because if I know I'm not going to like it, what's the point in me reading it? So those are 10 of books or book series that I am never going to read, ever. Although I say that, kind of have to make a point clear now, just in case I do end up reading any of them. These are books that I will never intentionally read. I won't plan to read any of them. If I find them for 50p in a charity shop, or if I get the book as a gift, like, if it's outside of my control, if I get the book and I'm just sat here with it, then I may give it a go. But I'm not going to go out, spend money on it. I'm not going to take it out from the library and take my time out. I'm not going to put any effort into reading any of these books, because I just don't want to. They don't interest me, and I just don't feel it. So I don't see the point in wasting my time to do it. However, if someone gift me the book, then I feel as though I have absolutely no choice, because if someone's gifted it to me, then kind of got to read it then, because someone spent money on it. And if it's that cheap in a charity shop, there's a good chance I'll pick it up just so I can say I've read it, but I've not actually really wasted money on it. I've wasted like 50p or a pound. But you get what I'm saying. I'm not going to waste my time or my money to physically and mentally go out and search for this book, because I don't care enough to do that. But if it kind of falls into my lap, maybe if I've got nothing else to read, I'll give it a go then. Just want to make that disclaimer clear, because if I show up in 3 years' time having have read these books and saying how much I love them, I don't want y'all calling me back to this and saying, you said you was never going to read that. So, just protecting myself. So, that is all from me. I post every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, and then intermittently throughout the week. This video has been posted because it is my friend Brooke from Brooke's Books' birthday. So, please make sure you drop a happy birthday comment down below for Brooke, and subscribe to her channel for some great content as well. And I really hope she enjoys this video, because this was a video that was specially requested by her that I did. So this is for you, Brooke. So thank you so much for watching. Happy birthday, Brooke. See you later.